What do you do when your mid laner does something like this? Because I cannot bear to see more than one FF vote a week, I demoted back to Diamond. To find a game that boasted 8 skins, the 2 without were facing off in the bot lane, but I was confident in my Lux who carried the title Lumberjack. This game also featured a Conquerora, a Virtuous Gwen, and some lore. The latter part of which sums up my life as a shaco player. I went red smite this game because I wanted to elo inflate, and then ran to my raptors. I placed a box and warded to prevent any tomfoolery, but there is no preventing chaos in this place. I was enjoying the ASMR sounds of the rift, only to be interrupted by the happenings in the bot lane. Caitlyn and the Lumberjack against Ashe and the Thresh bereft of a title. But one thing Thresh was not without: first blood. An ominous start, but Lux is used to dealing with rotten wood and responded with a kill of her own. Unfortunately, Thresh chopped down the Lux moments later. Meanwhile, I was on Krugs. I hold my box until the Krugs are around 200 HP. This lets Jack finish them off as I Q recall towards brighter pastures. With Lux having pinged the enemy bot lane summoner spells, I wanted to capitalize, but walked over enemy vision in this brush, a real schoolboy error. I pinged my companions to be careful of the Gwen who started at our raptors, and would you believe it, the scissor snipper was lantern surfing seconds later. With Gwen now missing HP, Thresh kind of and the enemy team having an Ashe, I wanted to fight, and fight we did. Despite losing the Lumberjack and with fluctuating ping and FPS, we killed the Gwen and Thresh, a well worth 2 for 1. What I do next is macro for the ages. I recall. Lots of you might go for the bot crab or your bot camps, but this is why you're not hard stuck Master Korea. The enemy Gwen will run topside out of base, and will know that I likely started on my raptors that will have a similar respawn timer to our own. So what's stopping Gwen from waddling into my jungle and attaining a level 4 camp? Shaco. If you want micro and macro mastery like this, then good news. The early access launch for Dombishi is this weekend, an interactive league platform that teaches and then tests you so you actually learn the game. Check the link in the comments. Back to the trials and tribulations of Shaco. Gwen retreats and I suspect she will farm her top camp, so I plan to invade her raptors. But these junglers actually jungle, as she cuts me off and even contests this bot crab. I borrow some of Gwen's patience and wait for my opportune moment. Thresh is nearby, so I queue over as my bot lane pinches. I backstab Gwen twice to then move away from the threatening Thresh. But I have no idea what I was worried about when I see Thresh do this.
Whoa, what the fast is up, pimps and play?
I grew in confidence, but the enemy Lissandra was here first. I held onto Gwen's patience, before queuing close enough to the enemy so I can queue backstab, but another explosion on my PC's motherboard denies me the chance to backstab Lissandra. We still get the kill, however. I then farm Gromp and Wolves, to then invade Gwen's Gromp. I was close but not close enough, as I returned to my Krugs. I complete a clear of my top camps to then notice Gwen 3v2ing my bot lane. Scared my bot lane would get dove, I stay on the map and march over. Caitlyn gave Gwen a shutdown, but Gwen was 1 HP. I search for material gain, and see Lissandra chunked in the mid lane. To my surprise, the enemy mid laner played this well, but still lost out on some golden experience. With my mid lane conquer roaring, I venture to the bot crab. As my first death in the game, Caitlyn pings on her way to dragon. For a jungler, there is no scarier omen. An AD carry with no sense of awareness voicing their erroneous opinion on jungle macro. As I do blue buff, I am surprised to see patience showing none of it, as Gwen runs straight to the dragon. This leash was much appreciated. As I started to wonder if Caitlyn was in fact the Oracle of the Matrix. What to do next? Well, how about joining the Shaco Academy? I'm uploading at least 2 videos a week teaching you Shaco clears, micro, builds and much more, so join the dark side today. After Dragon, let me contextualize the rift. My top laner was up 20 CS, I had a glowing moat, mid lane was 3-1, and the enemy Ashe was cosplaying my Gragas from last game. I skipped Gromp thinking Gwen would make a play on Grubs and maybe my raptors. Instead, she chose Lux. This allows me to respond with Grubs. I ping Fiora to chill because she has no R and is missing a bit of HP. Diving Alawi would be difficult as the Lumberjack takes his axe to the chat, pinging the Gwen as if she was really winning the game. Composure kicked in as I refrained from entering the chat myself. After Grubs, I place Jack on the blast cone and take him with me to Krugs. I then recall for Cyclo Sword and Boots. Ready to use these dividends of dominance, I secure the bot crab and see Lissandra chunked, and my bot lane with insane priority. Surely Gwen would do something to these lanes. She lives up to her name and does nothing. I subsequently farm up to Raptors as Caitlyn pings herself. I finish red buff and Krugs, and without any history, Gwen ganks bot lane. This leaves me in a 2v1 top side of the map, so I take down the tentacle thrower. As I depart, I cannot believe what I am witnessing. My bot lane surviving a gank but doing even more, outputting damage that allowed Aurora to swoop in for a double kill, and we had suddenly aced the enemy team at 13 minutes. I punished the Gwen's demise by taking her Gromp and Wolves before recalling, an 8-second endeavor that had me wondering what had to have happened to this Shaco player complaining about Tryndamere jungle. Out of base, I ran straight to Dragon. Why farm camps when Gwen could be getting impatient? With Gwen betraying her virtues, I secured lowered the dragon and took aim at the next target, the Rift Herald. I cleared my bot camps only for Lux to fall to another Gwen lane gag, but Gwen used R and was half HP, giving me the advantage. Just before entering this brush, Gwen sees me, but this baits her W as I then steal Gromp. I then Q down knowing the enemies will not suspect this dirty misdirection, and I deal some ban-worthy damage to Thresh. I then R and look at where my cursor is, to the right. This allows me to stay safe as my clone with permanent Halo Blades unleashes on the Green Lantern, who then dies, as does Gwen. My insatiable thirst for kills continued as I Q backstabbed Alawi but just mistimed my box to block her E. Aurora got hit, and judging by what she does afterwards, maybe even in real life. Hoping Aurora was dialing for a local helpline, I bombed it out of base towards the Rift Herald. With no sign of the enemy, look where I ping. If the enemy is going to give up Rift Herald, they will try to gain something on the other side of the map. My prophylactic communication saves the Fiora as I immediately drop Rift Herald in the vacant mid lane. I then take the enemy's blue and Gromp before planning my future. With Dragon respawning in around a minute's time, I farm my red buff and Krugs and recall. But Aurora was evidencing that the person behind the screen might have indeed taken some damage, as she traded 1-for-1 with the no-skin Thresh. With time to kill, I box this tri-brush and get ready. I E the dragon to pull it out of its pit, and because I have so much damage I can use my box to potentially CC the enemies. We cleanly secure the dragon, as my tri-brush box assists in killing Alawi, and our own fight ensues. As I move my camera to the fight, look at Thresh. He has countered my champion by pressing 4 on his keyboard, so I have to play the outskirts of this fight. I auto twice and then R again. A combo as common as good takes on the league Reddit. Gwen and Thresh perish as I take the enemy raptors, the top crab, and my Gromp. I could buy a BF sword to build into Infinity Edge, but the enemy team has HP, so I start investing in the regards of Lord Dominic. Out of base, knowing Fiora has Ignite, I know we can easily kill Alawi and Gwen if she shows up. But Fiora achieved the unthinkable, a solo kill. But what's more worth, killing the enemy or reaching this milestone? Without knowing their jungler was bot side of the map, my 3 other teammates took on 4 enemies. At least they killed Thresh again. Knowing this game was far from over, I pushed mid and made my way to my bot camps before hearing this. Coming from this Aurora, do you think I listened? Baron is of course the next objective, but Thresh likely warded it and that makes it difficult to start, so I farm my camps. As we all stand around admiring the textures of the top river, the enemy smite shows in her bot side jungle. This was all I needed. But starting this 3-headed beast comes with a pressure that can make your AD carry run off and do literally nothing.
Where the fuck I am?
Thankfully, Caitlyn returned, as I somehow secured the Baron. Thankfully, Aurora died, which means she cannot flash into the enemy's spells for 40 seconds, but what was more worrying was Fiora's death in the side lane. Pressing R was clearly too mean a feat. Regardless, Shaco stayed focused and found his Thresh. I have no idea what he was trying to accomplish, but I wish I could do this to my mid laner. A preemptive single ping for the next dragon appeared in the chat, so I passive-aggressively pinged the same objective 3 times, not just once. I had time to farm my red buff and Krugs, so did. I ran out of base with a 650 gold bounty, somewhat willing to donate it to the enemy team if Aurora pinged again. We pull the dragon out, and when I see Gwen in this pit brush, I use my R, not only for damage, but to hopefully explode if the enemy engages. I deliberately left the dragon on 54 HP after my E smite combo, before queuing over the Ashe W. We won this battle, and the war, as the game ended shortly after. Lux typed GG in Korean as I returned home. Like for more, follow the page, and don'tbeshe.com.